All right, thank you. So there you've just witnessed me dive to 112 meters or 370 feet. That dive took around 1 minute 48 to go down, and then the important bit was the coming up, which was 1 minute 20 to come back up. So that's a total of around 3.5 minutes, all of it on one inhalation, on one breath of the same air that you're breathing right now. A bit fresher than stuff. So yeah, I'm Gary McGrath, I'm Britain's deepest freediver. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for listening. So yeah, during the course of this dive, if you follow the heartbeat, my heartbeat can get down to 30, 20, or maybe even 10. It's very hard for us to measure that. We don't really have the technology to do that deep. My lungs have gone from this size down to about the size of a fist, maybe even smaller. And my body was under 10 times more pressure than you're feeling right now on the surface. So yeah, 112 meters down and 112 meters up, crucially. So this dive was performed at the annual elite level. It's an invitation-only competition called Vertical Blue. That's held in Long Island in the Bahamas every year. It's easily the most watched event in the freediving calendar. There must be tens and tens of world records, national records set there. It's probably, in fact, it's the best conditions in the world for freediving. It's like a test tube. It's like a laboratory. Perfect. Yeah, and only the top 10 men and women all get invited to compete. There we go. Yeah, that's the blue hole. How wide is that blue? Do you know? 50? About 20 by 30. So it's a small hole, but it goes down 213 or something, 210 meters deep. Yeah, and there's no current in there. There's very little waves on the surface. It's an amazing place. Yeah. So yeah, it was January 2021 when I got the invite to go, and that was a bit surreal. That was a bit of a dream come true, really. I always thought that was for the other people. Yeah, but to be invited to go was unreal. To be invited to compete alongside all those elite athletes was just mind-blowing. So even people think of me and talk of me in those circles is really honouring. Yeah. I got a chance to represent my country, which is something I've done it with the British team at a couple of World Championships, but again, to be there representing the country is a really amazing thing. If only we can get the government to realise that and give us a little bit of help. One day. So yeah, it was years and years of preparation for that one dive. Our clicker's not working, sorry. Yeah, but 112 meters is pretty hard for us to visualise sometimes. We need a point of reference, so we're going to go on a little tour around London. Yeah, Tower Bridge. So the top of that tower, that's 42 meters tall. That's 42 meters only. That's around about a third of what my target depth was. And then we've got Nelson's column. Nelson, Horatio up there is standing at 52 meters. So I'm still not even halfway to the target that I was aiming for that day. Big Ben, that's 96. Also, Dad's name. Getting close to that mythical 100-meter mark. But not quite there yet. And then we've got the Tate Modern. That's a really, the perspective on that is wild. That's 99 meters tall. So we're just a meter shy of that 100-meter mark. Still 13 meters to go to my target, 42 feet left to go. Yeah. And then, if everything goes well on the dive, which thankfully it did, there's a touchdown, I reached the bottom. I grabbed my tag, the little black piece of Velcro, that's what I have to bring up and show to the judges, to proof that I've been there. And the way down if everything goes right, and on that dive, everything went absolutely right. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. The way down was just pure relaxation. It was just the most pleasurable thing I've ever done, I think. And I daydream about that dive daily. My body just kind of melts away, and you become, when it works, when it's really good, you become like just a little speck of consciousness. Like you don't think anymore about your arms and your legs, and it's just just your mind just sinking down. I encourage everyone to give it a go. Maybe not 112 first go, but give it a go. But yeah, it might seem a bit insane, and I guess there's a part of me that thinks, yes, it is a bit insane. But for me, that dive is not scary at all. There's no fear on that at all. Yeah, there's a feeling of like connection, like Alice touched on it in her film. It connects you to a really happy place. Yeah, good memories. And with me, it's that feeling of connection to a really powerful element. You know, the ocean is an incredible thing. It's a feeling of connection to something bigger than us, you know, nature, something bigger than all of this, something bigger than London. It's just, yeah, it's amazing. Maybe it makes me feel a little bit like First Man on the Moon or climbing Everest kind of thing, you know, because there's so few people that have been down there, and there's definitely, yeah, I still wow myself by thinking that I've done it. I want to do it again. So yeah, mentally I'm completely calm, but I'm calm because I've trained properly. I'm calm because this is work, not in the sense getting up in the morning going to the office, but this is what I've trained for. This is a task that I know how to do. I've rehearsed many times, and now it's just I've trained as hard as I dreamed, and when the official clock goes to 0, it's all in my hands, and I really like that. But when we talk about deep diving, quite often we only focus on the way down. We only focus on the ultimate depth. There's so much more to it. You still, like I mentioned, you've got to come back up. Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah, and that for me is absolutely it's showtime. It's the chance. It's my favourite part of the dive actually. The way down is amazing, but the way up I really like it. It's the culmination of kind of like all the years, all the months, all the evenings spent in pools like this, all the hours spent in the gym, all the time spent meditating. It's the culmination of all of that, and it's my chance to kind of perform. I'm very lucky that I seem to focus very well in a situation like that. It helps me get tunnel vision and become really focused. Whereas some people, they find it hard to think, but think very clearly under pressure. Yeah, it's pure enjoyment. So this next slide, that's the gherkin in the middle, and then we've got the cheese grater to the right. I think it's called the Leadenhall building. Yeah, 225 metres. That is the combined distance down and up that I've just spun in that video. Well, minus 1 metre above. Yeah. But it's easy standing up here with that record. It's easy, perhaps it's easy for you guys to think that I'm some kind of alien creature, or there's something unique or special about me. I was never particularly gifted at any other sport. I did a bit of swimming when I was a teenager, not a particularly high level. A bit of martial arts when I was a kid. But yeah, I was not a natural athlete at all. There was no genetic predisposition or anything like that. There's no secret gills hiding behind my ears or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just a look. Yeah, that was my old job. Climbing trees. Another job that has quite a lot of crossover with freediving mentally, because in that job it's a dangerous environment. You're dealing with fast-moving parts, you're working at height. People can get really hurt doing that. Part of the reason why I'm not doing it now. And my ability to think clearly in a stressful situation when you're hanging from a rope and you're trying to rig a 600-kilo piece of wood over someone's conservatory. You know, you need to be able to think clearly. Yeah, I was living in London. working through the week, partying the weekends, and not really caring much about my health or my well-being, the sort of stuff that you can get away with when you're in your 20s. You don't even get a second thought. When you turn 35 and yeah. So yeah, I was definitely looking for something different back then. I had no idea what it was, but I definitely wanted out of that kind of circle that I was in. It was good fun. London's an awesome place to grow up, but I just wanted something a bit different. And yeah, then freediving found me really. I took my intro to freediving in 2006, and I went down on my own because I didn't know anyone. I couldn't find a friend that wanted to do it with me. So I went down to a quarry in South Wales, which is as cold and miserable as it sounds. I think it was like end of September or October or something like that. So the weather wasn't great. Not that it's ever great down there. But yeah, freezing cold. Back then, it was at the NDAC Chepstow, which loads of you have tried that, I think. Yeah. Back then, it was a car park, a gravel car park. There was one shower that could have hot water sometimes, and a really bad burger van, like the cheap ones you get at the fairground. So there was nothing there. So changing into a wetsuit out the back of the car while it's raining, day two, that wetsuit hasn't had a chance to dry. So you're putting on a wet, soggy wetsuit. And yeah, I kept coming back. I think saying that now, I don't know why I said it. Yeah, and I remember being in the water. It's green water there because it's fresh. And looking down that line, seeing it disappear at about 6 meters because the visibility was terrible. And just panicking, my heart was racing. I was just thinking, how the hell do people do this? You lot are insane. But yeah, I managed to do it. There was real fear on that first course, real fear. And I didn't pass it, which is surprising. Yeah, I didn't pass it. Back then, because it's cold water, I think you had to do 16 meters, but because it was cold, you could do 14 meters, demonstrate skills and stuff. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't improvise. I just kept turning in 10 or 12, crapping myself. Yeah. So I had to go back a couple of weekends later and finish it off. I got it, second time around. But yeah, it was stressful. I always remember that when I'm teaching anyone who's new to the sport. I definitely started somewhere. I can remember it all really clearly. I think it's important to keep that perspective as well. Yeah, I was just left after that course wondering what I could be capable of. Like, I've gone from being petrified putting on the wetsuit to doing 10, 12 meters, now 16. Yeah, how deep could I go? How long could I hold my breath? I was wondering, how do I compare to my instructor? How do I compare to the other students on the course? Yeah, and the journey just kept going until today. Yep, that's me. That's my first competition. That is wearing a really badly fitting wetsuit, scuba wetsuit. The zip went all the way from there diagonally. And if anyone's dived in cold water in a zipping suit, they haven't invented a zip yet that can keep out water. We can send people to the moon, but we can't make a proper tight wetsuit zip. Yeah, borrowed mask, borrowed gloves, pretty much borrowed everything. That was a 26-meter free immersion dive, I think, for my first comp dive. Yeah. And yeah, so talking about it, watching that video, it may seem like a bit of a thrill, like a bit of an adrenaline sport. And we'll touch on that at the end. Like, there's a lot of misconceptions about the sport. People think it's an adrenaline sport. It's absolutely not. It couldn't be further from it. Adrenaline is the absolute enemy of freediving. Yeah, to freedive to those depths, hundreds of meters, 100 plus, to challenge the concepts of the boundaries we've put on ourselves, we need the exact opposite of adrenaline. Absolutely can't have it. So you need a really unique mix of skills. You need confidence in yourself and your surroundings, but also you need humility as well. You need to know what you can't do. That's probably more important than knowing what you can do. Being aware of your limitations. You need some athletic fitness, definitely, for the bigger dives. But I think most importantly, you need really strict mental control. You need to be able to think clearly, like I said, think clearly under pressure, and you need to be able to slip at a moment's notice into this heightened state of relaxation. It's, you know, a minute 40 something down is a really long time to keep yourself occupied. So yeah, and yeah, there's absolutely no space for adrenaline in sport. So for me, the training really began in that cold lake in 2006. The actual physical training, learning about the sport. But I felt like I've been working towards that dive for my whole life in a way. You know, searching for something, finding it, trying at it, failing at it, trying again, failing at it, keeping trying at it, and then eventually getting better at it. There was a lot of focused training for that, preparation for that dive, that competition. A lot of gym time, a lot of time spent in swimming pools here. I've never had the pleasure to dive in this pool, but hopefully one day. Training to withstand really high levels of CO2, really low levels of oxygen. It's hours and hours of technique work. Yeah, and yeah, that technique work laid the foundation to my 112-meter dive. But yeah, as I keep saying, you could be the strongest person in the room, and it doesn't mean you can dive good at all. Not at all. Going into the water with the wrong headspace, thinking that the water owes you this dive, that's a recipe for disaster. Yeah, you've got to be. I don't want to get too ethereal. It's almost, you kind of got to ask the water's permission. I mean, it's not going to give you an answer, but you know what I mean. You've got to be going in there for the right reasons. I think that's a really important cornerstone of the way I dive. Yeah. So forcing these dives won't work at all. One thing I've definitely learned, this is in a lake, so the conditions were quite calm, but in the ocean, the ocean's in charge. It's mother, it knows it's going to let you dive or not let you dive. And learning to work with that element is really important. Yeah. And I think that's a note to all of you budding free divers, any of you who free dive. You know, once you start to see the water as a tool rather than an obstacle you're trying to overcome, it's a tool, it's going to help you. That's when you're really, really free diving. So as a free diver, I don't swim through the water. I swim with it. I think that's an important takeaway. Well, what does this mean for you guys? First off, for the non-free divers, you can all do it. You can all free dive now. Maybe not 112 tomorrow, but you can definitely all do it. We're born with an innate ability to do it. Our body knows, our body understands, and it's the subconscious that puts a lot of obstacles in front of you. Yeah, this is a metaphor for life. It really is. And those obstacles that you put in front of you, they definitely they prevent the body doing what it was designed to do. Remember, it's learning trust. That's one of the biggest takeaways. Is learning to let go, to surrender a little bit, to trust. Yeah. So as a coach, I can take someone who's never dived before, and in a week or so they can dive into 10, 20, maybe even 30 of them going really deep. That's a very short amount of time. There's no way to change someone's physical abilities in a week. You're not improving anyone's fitness. If anything, you're making them more tired because you're in the water every day. So yeah, the only change for someone that comes to me on day 1 to when they leave on day 5 is in their mental state. That's it. That's the only thing. And it's the moving of those limits and barriers, again, that they've set themselves. They've put those up in front. Yeah, it's moving of those, that's the only thing that we'll achieve through that week. Yeah, it's the body's job to keep us alive as long as possible. And to do that, it's probably easier just to sit at home and do nothing. Miss all these great opportunities, miss experiencing life, experiencing the world. That's what your body wants you to do. But yeah, I think redefining limits like that is what makes us human. I think it's what makes us kind of special out of all the other creatures on the planet. You know. Our species, we climb mountains just because they're there. We travel, we've colonized every corner of the world just because we wanted to know what was around the next corner. And I think redefining limits is what makes us human. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap up. So really finding limits is definitely what makes us human. What I wanted to say is that sense of curiosity that keeps you wanting to discover. Like, think like a 10-year-old kid. They're curious about everything. And if you can nurture that in your day-to-day life, you're going to experience a lot more things through life. So yeah, stay curious like a kid. Keep exploring. Keep doing things that scare you. Because scaring is good. It's good fear. I was scared before that dive. Absolutely. Anyone who says before a 100-meter dive they're not scared is a psychopath. I was scared. I was scared, but it was that awesome, good fear. Just like when you're going on the first date, when you're about to do this. I've been scared all night, but now standing up is the best thing in the world. You know, it's a good kind of fear. So embrace fear, keep curious, and come and do a free diving course.